Hey, what's up, guys? So in this video, I'm going to talk about how I landed my first digital marketing job within 3 months. And this was back in, I'll say around 2019 when I landed my first job. And it took, yeah, exactly 3 months. I actually started this journey of jumping into this career on my birthday, which just passed November 5th. So from November 5th to I'll say mid February of 2019 is when I landed my first job. And so one of the first things that I did was I researched and figured out what resonates best with me. And one of the things that which digital marketing channels resonates with me and what seems to be most easiest and what makes sense to me. So one of the things that I found out was SEO, and then social media marketing, and then I'll say Google Ads. And so out of these three, I was trying to figure out like which one speaks to me the most. With SEO, I figured that it has to be a lot of content writing, a lot of keyword research, a lot of technical work, and I felt like I wasn't the best writer that I could be at the time, like I am now. I figured that SEO wasn't the route for me. And then I looked up and researched social media marketing, and it's similar to SEO, but not on the aspect of having to rank something, more so like copywriting. And so I had to figure out like what titles, what headlines get the most attention, learning about the algorithms for each platform, managing someone's account, having to set up content calendars and all that stuff. And I ain't gonna lie, I was lazy and I was like, I don't feel like doing that either. And so I stumbled upon Google Ads. And of course, there is some content writing or copywriting involved with Google Ads and a little bit of keyword research, but it was all in this one platform. And I felt like the stuff that I was doing way back before I started doing digital marketing, I wanted to do digital marketing, was very specific or kind of on par with Google Ads. I used to own this eBay shop, and people would search for the type of products that I would list on it. I would go to the thrift store, look up certain high search volume brands, and then list them on my eBay shop. And then I would see people actually searching for those products that was listed on my shop, and then they will buy it. And so I was like, that sounds similar, and I can apply that with Google Ads. And so that's why I went on and just dove headfirst into Google Ads and made that my sole platform or career choice that I wanted to deep dive into. So now that I've chose a platform of choice or a digital marketing channel of choice, which is Google Ads, I had to learn that skill, the skill of Google Ads, the skill of the search engine marketing. And so what I did was I looked up some of the certifications. I took the certifications, and then I went on YouTube and watched tons of videos on people that have created certain campaigns or search display or marketing campaigns, YouTube videos, YouTube ads, and other different campaign types. And so I looked up how they built them out and actually mimicked what they did, why they did it, and also researched ways of like how to optimize these campaigns based on certain issues that the campaigns could have. Like for example, my first campaign that I ran, the CPCs were high, like $10. And I was trying to figure out why are the bids high at $10 when there's the bid, when you look in the keyword planner, it has a scale between $2 and $5. And so upon my research, I realized that this keyword that I was bidding on, even though I had it set to like $8, I didn't realize that there were some other competitors in the auction that were bidding on these terms too, inflating the cost of the keyword, would have made it $10. And so being able to figure out and find out the answer to why and how something is performing good or performing bad, it helped me basically scoped out ways to just alleviate those issues within the account, whether it's for my own personal use or for a client. And the main thing that I want to stress is learning Google Ads, or just learning the platform as a whole, like learning what each metric means, learning the situations and how to fix certain problems, where the click-through rate goes up or down, or why conversion rate is tanking, or why cost per lead is increasing. You want to learn the ins and outs of like what is going on and how to fix those problems and issues inside of a Google Ads campaign when you're optimizing when you're just optimizing toward a goal or a KPI that you set. And so after researching all that stuff, learning the ins and outs, the next thing that I did was I created a project. And inside this project was basically like a spreadsheet where I just went over like a build out of a specific campaign. And I believe I chose something along the lines of like a repair shop. And then I structured out like, what does that look like? So this is the campaign, and then these are the ad groups here. And then each ad group is a certain specific service that the repair shop offers, whether it's like battery replacement or tire replacement or oil changes. And then I have ad copy speaking specifically for those different services that the auto repair center offers. And so once I built that out inside of a spreadsheet, all the keywords, all the ads, all the targeting, and all this stuff, I was able to see like exactly how to build this out inside of Google Ads. And I recorded that whole process, and I made that like some type of like a portfolio, or I added into like my project catalog, similar to like a swipe file someone would just make a collage or a collection of. And I did this with tons of other different industries. And I kept it within the auto industry because that was like the first thing that popped up when I searched for just random businesses near me. And so I did it for automotive, basically just automotive, whether it's repair or like a car dealership. And so I built this out, and that was one of the main projects that I used to leverage to get my first job in digital marketing. And so now the next step that I took was basically building out my resume. And I needed to make this to where I could tailor it to where it stands out and makes it seem like my work experience is relevant enough to employer want to hire me as a Google Ads manager or an entry-level position. So upon me doing this research, trying to find some additional experiences that I can add to my resume, I came across this program for nonprofits, which is basically Google Ads for Nonprofits program. And what that is, Google gives nonprofits a $10,000 credit to where they can run ads to support their mission and their cause, and they could target certain specific keywords that people are searching for. For example, if a nonprofit wants to get more volunteers, especially if they're like a teen health led mission, then you can set up some campaigns and ad groups that are targeting keywords like volunteer for teens or teen health volunteer opportunities. And so those type of keywords that people are searching for, they will see those ads, click on it, and possibly opt in as a volunteer or fill out the form on their page to volunteer for that cause. And so that's what I went towards. I started offering my knowledge that I built up about Google Ads, and started to offering that service to nonprofits that needed help. And I leveraged platforms like Volunteer Match and Catch a Fire. And there's a few other platforms similar to those two that you can search for, or you can even just ask ChatGPT, like, what are some other platforms similar to Volunteer Match or Catch a Fire? And so I used that, and I leveraged that opportunity and that skill to manage that $10,000 Google Ads credit, and I slapped it on my resume. So now that I have my resume basically built out with relevant experiences, relevant skills, relevant certifications that I took, the next step was basically just finding and applying for jobs as well as networking. And so that was one of the main things that I tried to do. It didn't work out at first, but once I figured out how to actually network on LinkedIn to find jobs, it made the process a lot easier. Here's what I did to network on LinkedIn. First, I would find like some job listings that are related to what the skill that I got, which was Google Ads. And then I'll look up, let's say, paid search specialist or something like that. Paid search specialist. And then it'll pull up all these job listings on LinkedIn. And if you click into those job listings, you'll see like who is actually who actually posted the job listing. And within that, you can go directly to the either the business page, or you can actually just click on the profile of the person that listed. So usually it's the HR person, or it's a recruiter. I think I spelled that wrong, but oh well. So you have the HR person or the recruiter. And so what I did was I connected with them on LinkedIn and also sent over my resume and also letting them know that, hey, I saw you had this job listing posted. Here's my resume and some of the projects that I have done in the past to show off some of my experience within Google Ads. And then I did the same for recruiters, but instead of telling them just about that I'm applying for that specific job listing, I also told them like, hey, if you have any other entry-level Google Ads positions, be sure to send them over and I'll apply for those as well. And so I tried that for maybe like the first couple weeks, or maybe like the second month of me searching for a job and applying for jobs. This didn't work at first, but I'll say later on in my career, when I was looking to job hop and increase my income, this method really helped. So now I'm going to talk about what it looks like to actually apply for the jobs and what are the two methods that I use that helped me actually get interview calls. And so what I would do was I had two methods that I would try. I call it the spray and pray method and then the message match method. And so what that looks like is I will have my resume here and then all these other job listings on LinkedIn. With this same resume, I will just shotgun it to each job listing. And then over time, I figured that didn't work out. That didn't work. I didn't get any calls for interviews. But then I tried my second method, which is the message match. And so you had these list of job listings here. They were talking about Google Ads, and you need to have skills for X, Y, and Z, or have experience building out campaigns for lead gen or for a specific industry. Then I would revise my resume to match what those job listings were saying. And then I would apply for those jobs. And this method here, the message match, seemed to work a lot better than the spray and pray method. But once you dial in your resume to where it matches basically any type of Google Ads related job listing, then the spray and pray method will work best for you, especially if you have it dialed in. And so after a few weeks of doing this, I was able to land some interviews and get on a call with a few recruiters and also a few agency owners that owned the agency, and they were looking to hire someone for a Google Ads position. And so that was basically the way I did to apply for jobs and also land those interview calls. After I started applying for jobs and I started getting calls for interviews, the interview process was very straightforward. Of course, I would wear my shirt and tie. The majority of these calls were Zoom calls. Maybe a handful of them I actually had to go, like drive to the office, the agency's office, and actually have an in-person interview. But 9 times out of 10, the majority of these calls were virtual interviews, which was cool. But I would say the main thing to make sure that you have prepared, that I had prepared during these calls, were stories. And so some of the questions that I was asked were mainly, they were Google Ads based, but also like team oriented and team focused based questions. So they would ask, of course, questions about like what you would do in Google Ads if XYZ happened. For example, I mentioned earlier, if CPCs started to rise, what levers would you pull inside of Google Ads to make an improvement on CPCs, or what are some of the places that you would go to figure out why this is happening? And I had to basically figure out why, or use my initial knowledge and my research that I used at the very beginning of this journey to tell them why or how I would improve CPCs over time. And then on top of that, there were some, like I said earlier, you have to have a few stories or experiences that you can come up with, and they will say, hey, what are some challenges you faced inside of Google Ads that may have worked or may haven't worked, or that proven to work as a result in this test or experiment that you ran. And for example, for me, I would say I used to A/B test ad copy. And during that time when I was A/B testing, I would test out certain headlines and descriptions and see which one worked the best. And over time, I'll see if I'll let them get up to 1,000 impressions on both ad copies while I'm split testing. And then based on the click-through rate, or the cost per conversion, or the conversion rate on whichever ad copy seemed to perform the best, I'll basically pause off the low performing one and keep this one running, and then copy this ad and then make another variation and keep testing until I can see that whichever KPI goal that I'm continually trying to improve, it starts to improve over time as I'm testing out different variations within the campaign as far as the ad copy is related. And so something like that, if you're able to have like a story on when you did something like this, it will really help you stand out and make you seem more like you have more credibility and more skills within the Google Ads platform, and that you basically know what you're doing. So like I say, make sure you have a list of skills, and also be able to come up with a few problem solving scenarios based on what's happening, what's going on inside of Google Ads. And that's basically what I did, and I ended up landing my first job. But before I landed the job, I was actually given an offer letter. And so with the offer letter comes with them telling you what exactly you're going to be doing and how much you're going to be making. So when I got my first offer letter, I believe it was around $30,000 just to be the Google Ads specialist within the agency. And I felt 30,000 was kind of like a low ball to me. And so what I did was I basically Googled like what is the average salary for a Google Ads specialist or digital marketing professional within the city that I was living in at the time. And it was way higher than what they were presenting me within my offer letter. And so what I did was I wrote a counter offer that was, I think it was maybe like $5,000 to $6,000 more than what they offered me. And I gave great reasoning as to why I'm asking for this amount. And the crazy thing was they didn't even ask any questions. They just went on and accepted my counter offer, which was, I think it was a lot closer to like 40,000, or probably was like 40,000. And that was pretty cool. I didn't expect them to actually accept it. But what I can say is, if you know the numbers and you do your research and you've proven yourself as an expert, or at least having the knowledge to do so, there's no questions asked why they shouldn't accept whichever offer that you counter with, as long as it makes sense and it's not like crazy higher than what they offered you at the initial beginning. So for example, if I would have offered them countered offer with like 60,000. They would have been like, bruh, come on now. You, what you doing? So definitely do your research and figure out what is the medium or the average pay within your area, and if it makes sense when the offer letter is presented, counter if you have to, and yeah, the rest is history. And if you want to learn how I can help you land your first digital marketing job, hopefully within the next 90 days, 3 months, definitely click the link down below and join my Discord, where I'm basically offering up my knowledge for free. I would say the first 50 members that join, and after that, I'm basically closing the doors, and to enter, you have to pay a subscription. So you definitely want to hop in before it fills up, and the first 50 that join will definitely be able to get that knowledge for free, to where they're going to be getting the exact steps, the exact in-depth knowledge that I've used to land my first digital marketing job, like I just went over in this video. But I'm basically just going to be hand holding you and making sure that you get everything done, and guiding you to a high paying job in digital marketing. I hope this video helps. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.